Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS Challengers League. I'm Mazel, joined by Joshi yet again. I hope you enjoyed our little break, our little rest and reprieve before we get back into games. Yeah, it was very quiet. Yeah. We are getting back into it now after some technical difficulties with the draft. But before we do, we got to cover a very important factor, at least, that is now new in ACL. It is our Fearless ban system that now we have to check in as we go into game number 2. So these are the bans for both teams, because they played them in the first game.
And I think the big thing that I am looking at is, first off, the virus. We touched on this a little bit before the game actually started, or before we went to break, just because this is one of the things where we have been seeing Disguise attack a lot, is Manui's champion pool is a little bit unusual and very specialized in ways a lot of other players are not. But at the same time, Wildcard have broken up a couple of big combos for themselves, right? They no longer have access to the Nocturne and the Orianna in the same draft, and it also really pushes Darkwings towards playing the Azir because he cannot play the Orianna into his opponent's Azir, and we know that Darkwings loves playing the Golden Bird.
Yeah, that's the most important factor. Is we knew that Azir was going to be prevalent here, but now obviously for DSG no longer there. I think the question does become, Young has some really good answers into the Azir. I think a lot of the champions that he mains, that he pilots, are pretty good into that matchup. So I want to see if he's able to utilize that, if DSG are able to utilize that at all, because that first draft, it was spicy. We had so much fighting, but in the end, it was a couple key decisions going wrong for DSG. And I think setting themselves up with some of those planned strategies in the Fearless system is super important for Game 2.
Yeah, and it is interesting to watch as well, right? Because we know that, I kind of want to touch on like the staff that they have, because Inero has been the coach for Disguise so far, and we know he had a lot of success when he was working with Golden Guardians, but this team has not kind of come out of it. And one of the things that we can kind of attribute to Golden Guardian's success was that they had somebody who was very good at controlling the rest of the team, whereas Disguise, I thought it was going to be Perry. We know that there's lots of very vocal members on this team, but it hasn't coalesced into the team that we need to see.
Yeah, it hasn't. But we're going to see if it does now, as DSG are up on the docket as we get into picks and bans. They will be on the blue side. If they lose here, they will go series winless throughout the first
and game winless
of NACL.
Yeah.
So I really want to see if they can pull it through. Yeah, and game winless. The thing is, again, looking at the draft early, I do want to go ahead and get through these bans. We got the Manui respect ban yet again, not letting that Seraphine through for Wildcard on the red side. We already have the Vi ban and the Darius ban, so trying to even up some of these really point-and-click matchups, but also the Darius counter into a lot of things in top lane now.
Yeah, I mean, Darius has become much more meta, and especially really good into the Udyr that we were kind of expecting Tenacity to at least consider going into this game, and so we're already taking off some of these major tools. Now, the big thing, again, comes down to play around the Azir. How do we play around Manui's champion pool? Because I'm fully expecting another ban towards Manui right here in order to make sure that there are at least 4 champions that Manui cannot play. There are, a couple of specialists. I would not be terribly surprised if we saw an Akali ban in the second half of the draft, but you aren't locked into playing the Azir just because your opponents have already played it.
Dude, do you just get Manui on your team to make sure that you get free 3 bans from your enemy at this point? Like, literally every series against this man. Like, how confidence building is that for Manui at this point? I'm hoping to see a tweet at some point later on from him. Like, come at me, guys. How many bans do I take? The Karma is the first lock-in for DSG, though.
Yeah. I mean, already coming through, we do see the VARs going right on over to Wildcard. This has been something that Aaron has played plenty in the past, but with the Karma coming through and with the Malignance build being popular, it has been something we have started to see pop up in the mid lane as well, with just a lot of tools, a lot of aggression, very possible with this champion. And honestly, when you spike super early in the game, it creates a lot of opportunities for you to create pressure in the mid lane that your opponent has to deal with. With this Xante already picked up, I wonder if Tenacity's counter pick is going to be, because you have to do something very different.
Shout out to Perry for the... Oh, he actually locked. I thought he was just hovering it, but we actually get the Jhin lock in. So Jhin Karma can be a very deadly bot lane. Still a lot of flexibility for the Karma, though, itself.
Now, Lennon, as a Jhin aficionado,
yes,
could you explain in one sound what you feel about playing Jhin into Xante? Yeah, I'm a little bit worried that we're seeing the Jhin after the Xante has already been picked.
Do I turn
He's
my
a great
statue around
champion.
so he can't see?
Faces the
so he
wall.
can't see the
Don't
Cassante?
look. You
Don't
know,
look
we'll
at the
see.
Cassante?
We'll see that we already have the tenacity on the Olaf. You do have an opportunity to put the Cassante really far behind in this situation. So there are ways to dominate both side lanes, but this is, again, Wildcard have been outperforming a lot of their expectations in relation to their laning phase early in the game, with Darkwing's going on to one of his specialty picks in the Azir. They also grab it on their third pick on the red side, meaning that they can now ban some of the major things that Young wants to play into it.
Crazy. It's kind of crazy how that
Like a
works
dance
out. The
move.
Akali, first and foremost, great ban. Immediately also thinking about some of the other things we've seen around pro play going to be banned. But the biggest question for me becomes disguised bans here, because you do need to find a way to whittle down that engage support focus, but they're going to go ahead and target Winnie's pool right now.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. It feels though Doxa has had more success in some of his Enchanter play than some of his
Absolutely.
Engage play. So you don't necessarily need to look at that quite as heavily. There's already plenty of tools on the side of Wildcard to dictate how fights are actually starting. So I really like this Jarvan ban. The next question then becomes, how else can you lock down Winnie's ability to run the game? Because on the Xin Zhao, he had a pretty decent time and lived for inordinately long amounts of time as well.
Thank you, Wildcard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's okay. People don't build this
Thank you.
champion correct anyway, so...
The only person in the LPL that has a pass to play Corki from our entire broadcast team is Rookie, if that tells you something. I think that's pretty lofty expectations there. But we do want to see some more of that. I would expect Perry to maybe, since we saw that first cycle of bans, go ahead and focus a little bit more onto Winnie. The Poppy actually taken away because there was threat of Wildcard taking that from Perry here in the second phase.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting as well, because the Steadfast Presence currently gets 0 value going into the side of DSG, and so instead, I'm expecting to see kind of a support pick here. This is one of those places where, wow, Wildcard is like, we are going to fight you head on. Gotta be very careful.
I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it down. All right,
You're going to put it down? It's that bad?
You know, Jin having to face up against a Cassante, an Azir, and a Blitzcrank.
It's a tough spot.
Real bad.
It's a very tough spot, and we are going to be seeing Young very likely going towards this LeBlanc. They've been hovering it for a long time. It is something that he has had success on, and we just saw that there are different ways to play it. But unfortunately, Lennon, we're looking at a situation that looks very similar to the last game of LCS we just watched between Energy and Immortals, where they were playing Jhin and LeBlanc into a effective hyper tank coming out from the Cassante, and you don't have enough damage to kill him, with this composition, and now you are very focused on one, Perry going top lane, and Tenacity just finding his own advantages to prevent Cassante from winning the game just on account of having been picked.
I will say there is interest in the way that you can play the LeBlanc now, and I think in some wild world, God, dude, Jhin just needs to not have an existence in this game, I guess. The thing is, you can play side lanes with the LeBlanc.
Yes.
I literally last night watched Xiaohu end the game with a backdoor LeBlanc at the
he
last second.
He cast LPL, by the way. Just in case
no. But in actuality, it's seriously about trying to utilize those power points, because they have a lot of utility on their team, but they don't have the fisticuffs to go 5-on-5, it feels like, straight up.
I think in a lot of different rosters, this game plan would work out quite well, right? We have seen a lot of teams have success playing 1-3-1 side lane style games, but we just saw a game where Wildcard didn't go bot lane to respond to Young. They didn't go bot lane to respond to Tenacity, and they never even got the second tier turret. So this is definitely going to be a big gauntlet slap across the face to this guy saying, we don't believe you. We don't think you can do any of that, as we are going to be suffering a little bit from another tech delay. Unfortunately, one of our players was not able to load into the game, and so you have to listen to us, and I'm going to hang on to the button to start the game until you all say something nice about me.
Oh, well, that's gonna
be a while.
It's
gonna be a while.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while. It's gonna, we should be sitting here. It is curious to me, though.
Yeah. I'm curious. What are you curious about?
Wildcard really don't like Jhin. Like that's my results-based analysis. Because they pick out but Actuality,
Just like
Wildcard.
you brought a stat that I didn't like about Nico support. I'm going to say...
I don't take this Jin slander, all right? It's not fair. It's not fair. I had to deal with it on Friday, whenever Beatdown was here, and Rock Boom gave me some backup and went like 9-0. And now I got to deal with the slander here. But unfortunately, again, I don't think this is a great game for Jin.
I don't think it's a great game for Jin either.
I more so than talk about the memes, I think it's interesting that this guys go for something like this. Not a standard meta comp, not something that's very stable, but something that's a little bit more wonky, maybe a little bit more, at least flowy. In a game that matters the most, right? Like literally, they lose this. 3 weeks are gone. You haven't found a single win, and you lose another series, right? So, like, it's interesting they don't take priority in that going into a second game where they have the possibility of going all three.
Yeah, I definitely think it's really interesting. Whenever I see, in particular, like when I used to cast like flat leagues all the time, whenever I saw somebody bring out like a Katarina, I think was the classic pick, that people would just bring onto the table, they would have a lot of success just flipping the game early, and then you just run away with it. And I think there's an opportunity for Disguise to do that in this game as well. However, this is not a flat league, and Disguised are not a team that we should be looking at as like, oh, well, I guess we'll just flip the game then. So I'm really hoping that if Disguised are able to find this win, it doesn't become the standard in the way that they are looking to play, because I know these players are better than that, and they just need to figure out how to work together and actually go for some of these game plans, because Wildcard, as we've touched on many times, you have Winnie on your team. You have a shot caller. You know what your game plan is. You follow the leader, and then you just get into every single fight.
And it comes back to the conversation of pre-built synergies and the fact that this wildcard roster is fucking so much percentage going the way of Slew and how long they've played together before as well. I think it's super important to highlight. And for DSG, it's a team that's coming together around a stayed member in Young and really trying to find those synergies where they've had sporadic weeks, right? Like they played week 1, they lost 2-0, then they didn't play for 2 weeks until week 3, and then they lost TLC. So I think the schedule does have a lot to do with how these teams are approaching, at least building up forward.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talk, again, about how effective different teams are using their downtime, right? Because, well, we only get to see how they perform during the actual games on stage. We're not really privy. Like, sometimes I'll hear rumors about how the different scrims are going, but that is where most of the learning is actually done during those games that you're playing up against a lot of different teams. And I've been hearing a lot of different opportunities or a lot of different claims about who is actually really good in scrims and who is not doing so hot in scrims. And so this is one of those spots where I always wonder what the difference is, because Disguise has been a team that I have been hearing behind closed doors when nobody's watching them, they're actually playing pretty well.
Yeah, and they have some good heads on their shoulders. I will say that. I mean, again, we said they're some of the best pieces, it feels like, around in Tier 2. Also, I have a good update for you, Joshi. We did get a nice Twitch chatter. Elephant Bush says that you have great-looking facial hair. That's your compliment. So we can go ahead and start the game now. Thank you, Elephant Bush. We were waiting on you the whole time.
We're going to start pushing the button. Is it working?
It's working. We're a draft. We're good to go.
That's good. Okay.
And now I have
We're
to
getting
look
closer.
at this draft again and see the Jin on one side and a Trundle Cassante Azir. Oh, God.
At least you have curtain call, you know?
Hey, Underdark story starts now. DSG, try to find it in. But I do want to focus. We've talked a little bit about the wonkiness of DSG's side, but I do want to talk about this Exodia draft that Wildcard put together, because it does play to their strength, right? Winnie being very cerebral, the Trundle, great with that. But you have a lot of power in the lanes, too.
Really? For Wildcard? I feel like your lanes are all like, this is the biggest deficit that I'm going to be seeing coming out from Wildcard. While they have been playing a lot better than a lot of people were expecting, this is a situation where they have to be very careful in a lot of their lanes. Tenacity has an opportunity to create a lot of prio and move along with Perry. Young has the opportunity to just kill Darkwings, depending on how some of these early trades actually go. He even went with the Electrocute. And then in the bottom lane as well, you were already talking about the power that Minui and Poom have with this Jin and Karma. And Doxa, I mean, you know, it depends. Is he feeling good? Is he landing every hook? Great,
but
you win the game.
Thing. You land one hook on Jin without a flash, it's over.
Yeah, but he's got the flash.
Boots. I
You
like
have to
the
land two of
boots.
them.
He did. Look at that. A little bit of level 1 status going on here for both sides as well, and I like this move from DSG just to try to find some, because again, coming into this, they are the team that really needs to try to find something, because we've already talked about this, the stability of Wildcard's composition, but it's really looking at DSG to have those advantages early in the game.
I have to admit, I'm very surprised that Doxa was allowed to get away with just standing there. You know, he was in a spot where it's like, hey, he was standing in a part of the bush where he was not going to see them on the other side of the 50-50 of the wall, you know? The death wall. Yeah. Anyway, he might take a little bit more death bush coming out of this as well. All right, that's not too bad. Could be
All
a lot
I'm
worse.
saying is Rock Boom went like 9-0 or whatever. He used the same skin.
Oh!
Oh my god!
Ow!
I'm sorry, Manui. That's not a good start, you know, because once one hits on a gen, it feels like every single one. It's like you just need the target locking to go one time, and then every time after that, it's just gonna connect.
Yeah,
that's what happens when I play it.
Ooh, well, they're a little bit better than we are. Turns out,
I'd say so.
But either way, it is still a spot where it looks like I believe they did deny a melee minion of experience coming out to Aaron and Doxa, and oh no, just Doxa.
Yeah, it looks like just Doxa.
So this is going to be an opportunity here for them to abuse Doxa for a little while longer. So that first hook burning one of the 4 potions that Manui did have at the very beginning of the game can be very important. But going back to where the junglers are, going to that for the first time, Winnie is now on the bottom side of the map, skipped a couple of his top side camps in order to be here. They lost their vision at this point, and they have not warded their bush.
Yeah, this is a really good angle for Winnie. He's waiting. He's trying to decide if this is an actual angle for him. Meanwhile, Perry is doing what good Maokai's do and going for a full clear, but now going for an invade path as Perry has gone the upper hand here, at least in timing window, because Winnie didn't pull the trigger on the bottom side play.
Yeah, Manui and Poom will be able to get that recall off, and Winnie will be losing a couple of his camps up on the top side. Great read from Perry, knowing that for Winnie to be here for any kind of play, he would have to give up multiple camps on the top side. And Tenacity even helping him out as well, doing a fantastic job up in the top half of the map. And now he's mid lane.
They're looking for a double pincer maneuver on a Dark Wings. He will just dash out of there, though. Nice little timing window from DSG. And this is the kind of stuff you need to see from them. Just activity on the map with this combo.
Yeah, they had a lot of pressure early on in the game, in Game 1 as well. It was a matter of continuing it throughout the course of the rest of it. And while Perry, with the change to the terrain up on the top side, he goes for the Krugs, is not actually able to immediately go for a sensical gank onto Quacker. But now Winnie's on the bottom half of the map, says, okay, I lost a couple of camps. Maybe Doxa can land a hook.
Yeah, Doxa gonna go in here, does get the knock up, the combo. The Deadly Flourish is there, and yeah, really rough combo there to try to pull off a dive as Wildcard get completely answered to, and now Aaron is just gonna bite the dust again. Manui at 1-0-1, the heal comes out, and now Deadly Flourish connects, and the master of it all will be Manui as Poom maybe left over. Young, give it to Young! Somebody take the kill! Okay, Young got it, almost died for it, but DSG up 3-0.
Well, that was a giga disaster coming through for Wildcard, and now DSG in a very firm control of how this game should be going. And this is the other side of the coin that we sometimes see coming out from Wildcard. They go for every fight. Sometimes they are very right. Sometimes that happens, and they end up going for a fight where they are locked underneath the turret. They're going to be losing even more CS. Or I guess Aaron will be able to get most of it right on back, but that is so much money going to the side of DSG that they can brute force their way through this early mid game. But as they go in, they just go underneath the turret, and Doxa missing the hook is rooted for forever, and they just don't have the damage immediately after that. And when he says, oh, we got to go for this fight, look at how low they are, the Manui already gets a shot off, the flash comes through, the heal is there, there's not enough damage, and even though the lethal tempo, I've been seeing a lot of reels about how the Trundle feasts on his prey, the shields come out on the right targets, and he has nowhere left to go.
Honestly, a bold dive to start it off anyways against that composition. When they both had flash available still, you still had the heal, you still had all the tools available. Just thinking that the Blitzcrank does the difference, but it doesn't. And it does mean now on the back end of that, when we have a trade of these objectives, Wildcard will get the first dragon, but all 3 mites go over to DSG and Perry.
Yeah, and that should be good for DSG, right? They get the extra pressure in the lanes, and we were already looking at this is going to be a fairly good laning situation for them overall. And Tenacity, in comparison to Game 1, is absolutely in control of the top half of the map, and Young picking up the kill makes up for the fact that he roamed relatively early on up against Darkwings, and now should be better able to bully this around. The one place where it might be a little even is actually down here in the bottom lane because of how effectively Aaron and Doxa have been able to CS, whereas Manui struggling to find some of that money, and even with this wave coming in, it is going to get worse in favor of Wildcard.
And when you're in a position like this where the wave has consistently been pushing over to the bottom side as Jhin, it becomes so much more scary because literally one Blitzcrank hook now, especially without the flash, is doom. So you have to be really careful when the waves are pushing up this far. They do push Wildcard off of the wave, do get the push in here for themselves.
They also spot out Winnie on the top half of the map, and so, or excuse me, on the bottom half, and so they do know he is in the area, but yet again, they haven't gone for the Pixel Brush ward in the bottom half of the river, and so instead, Winnie, as he clears out this crap, the question will be, where does he go next? Looks like he's just going back in his own side of the jungle, not going to be looking for any kinds of plays, which is not necessarily what I was expecting from this player.
He's holding over now, and yeah, a lot less activity than we had in that game number one, besides this play bottom lane going awry. That ward, or at least the trap, not going to be able to see them, so the engage does come through. Winnie finds parry in the middle of it, but Nature's Grasp has that distance. Doxa locked down, and Doxa just one auto, gets the dancing grenade onto him, and Manui's fourth shotting him to hell. He's got him ready. He can go for it. He gets the deadly flourish here. The damage is done. He's just waiting for the auto. Oh! He doesn't get it, but Young will come in for the auto attack, and we are all of a sudden 6-0 in Disguised favor, 7.5 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, this is really big for Disguised. It feels as though they have been gifted an opportunity to actually win the game. This is twice now that Disguised have fully stuffed any opportunity for a play coming out from Wildcard. As we already talked about, Tenacity is also winning the top half of the map. They are now winning across the entire board. This is also a comfort zone. What are we doing here, Doxa? Oh my gosh, there's no way, right?
Boom should be able to get out of one. Aaron has too many minions on the back end to deal with. But this is what we wanted to see from Disguised. I think when we came into draft, we were seeing so much going the way of Wildcard and their compositional strength, but there was always that caveat. Well, if Disguise are ahead, if they find a lead, and they have found that, and maybe a little bit of gifting by Wildcard side, thank you to the Jhin lovers, but it is something where the bottom half of the map for DSG is set up for success.
And now they really need to bully their way through it, right? Because eventually, Jhin is going to have a lot of the same problems the later this game actually goes. Going into Winnie and Quacker, he is going to struggle to do damage to them when they start getting items. But now he has a lot of time where he will have items before they do. And that is going to be the difference that DSG will really need to leverage. Unless they somehow show us that they can actually go for a lot of these split push plays. And they're trying to push it right now.
Deadly Flourish connects. There's the curtain call. Aaron's going to be blocking a ton of shots. Oh, no. The Chains of Corruption going wide is a little bit rough. Poom looking for the angle here. Does have the speed up and the chain. Aaron has no way out but a flash. Will burn, but it's too late. Oh, my God, Aaron. That is not what you love to see. The flash comes out too late. The cleanse comes out too late, and he goes down.
Wow, I mean, that's a lot of arrows, a lot of skill shots that Aaron and Doxa have been missing in this game, and now Winnie paying the price for it. He's going to be losing more of his jungle.
Oh, no.
4,000 gold lead.
This might just be one of those games where you're like, you want to go to game 3? Let's go to game 3.
Yeah, we could skip this one. That's all right. It is looking very good for Disguise so far. Again, they're looking for not just their first series win, but their first game win, and Aaron and Doxa not permitted to go to lane.
Oh, he just ran in there, was super confident, died immediately. I love it.
And this is where the game becomes very untenable. When you cannot even have one of your lanes walk up to start farming in order to start getting experience and gold. I mean, Aaron, he cannot walk effectively until he knows that Perry is not in the area. And I'm actually a little bit surprised that, never mind, Darkwing still has the ultimate. But this is a terrible position right now for the members of Wildcard because they don't have any point of strength across the entire map. Aaron going for lethality relies on being ahead in the laning phase, relies on actually having some damage going up against all of these different members, and now this guy's going for more of these Void Grubs, are going to get all 6 of them, make sure that they're going to get their Twitch chatters.
I want to give some love out there, especially
to our subs.
It did get the crit build already started, at least for Manui. It will be the Storm Razor completed. We've seen a lot of conversation around the crit versus lethality build for Jhin. But hey, when you're ahead, why not go crit so you can just destroy people? It will be a second dragon for Wildcard, though, here, and no real response because those grubs went down on the other side. So at least some good timing windows from them.
Yeah, I do like that from Wildcard, and we have seen that Team Liquid Challengers also had a very similar lead going up against Wildcard in their matchup earlier in the season, where they had a pretty dominant lead and Wildcard were still able to come back anyway. And so we cannot discount the fact that Wildcard, they actually have some tools to be pretty aggressive later on, right? They still have playmaking coming out from Quacker, Darkwings, Aaron, and Doxa. Every single one of these players has good tools to actually pick someone out if they do need to do so. And so with the 2 dragons already picked up, I mean, it sets them up for an alternative win condition to potentially go for, whereas the Skies, they, having lost both of these dragons already, they're the ones who are now pressured to try and come in and make sure that Wildcard can't continue stacking them.
One of our biggest conversations is we've seen a lack of being able to close games out from a lot of our teams. So being able to do that here from a point of power is important for a first game win of DSG, and they're going to catch out Winnie here, but Darkwings is able to put down some work on Perry. Perry got the phase rush boost out of there. Now Young trying to go back in. The Emperor's Divide saves Winnie's life, and Darkwings coming up clutch for his jungler.
Almost killing Perry as well, getting a lot of damage down onto both of them because the Skies were so focused on trying to make sure that the Troll cannot keep his opportunity to keep hitting during these fights. But so far, I mean, Darkwings, one of the things I've been most impressed about this player is how clutch they've been so far, but Doxa, under attack.
He's going to fall for it again. Does end up getting just about half his health bar taken off. Not a death this time.
Not a death.
They won't be able to do anything about it. That last plate struggling to hold on down there in bottom lane.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that they already had that many plates go down as well. Yeah, a very tough position to be in for Wildcard's bottom lane.
A little wild. Do get a almost play on the Quacker from Tenacity.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how Wildcard can, like, get in, right? Obviously, you have the Blitzcrank hooks all the time. Darkwings will eventually win this trade, but Jungle Privilege
Perry's just trying to get the wave in.
Yeah. But it definitely feels as though Disguised, I mean, are absolutely in total control. When you're going to try and steal some of these Raptors, but won't find any of them. Oh no.
The flourish. There's the combo. Look who the strong ones are. And Winnie overextends, and a shot to the head does get Manui a rampage.
Is that 4?
I believe so.
There you go.
5? No, it was 4 because he was 305.
All right, here we go. I mean, that's the
There
special
it
number.
is.
He's done. He's done. No more
done.
kills. No more kills for Manui this game. I think that's the rule, right? But either way, again, it doesn't feel as though one of the big things I'm going to be watching throughout this entire thing is seeing if Disguise can make any proactive plays. And this is one of the first ones that they're going to get caught.
Again, this is the problem. A Blitzcrank will always be able to get it. Unfortunately, not going to be able to land the Deadly Flourish to help out Perry at all. But here comes the Emperor's Divide. The Chains of Corruption land max range. And it's Aaron who claims the kill. And now Jin has fallen for the ultimate Jin bait going into melee range. And just like that, Wildcard carve almost 3,000 gold off of the lead.
Every proactive play this entire game has been turned on its head. Wildcard with that hook onto Poom, finding multiple kills, multiple shutdowns right on across. And while the gold lead is still really large here for Disguise, that has to be demoralizing considering what their problem has been so far throughout this split. Their proactive plays have not worked. They've gotten shut down in so many of these different plays. And now, Wildcard is the team who is so good at so many of these comebacks that you have to start asking, do we really feel that we're ahead still?
And that's where some of that synergy we were talking about really comes into play because you're just on top of each other's game plans here, and Poom just caught lacking a little bit here, Joshi.
Yeah, and then as they try and run away, right, Perry should be able to buy a lot of time as Young comes right on over. But the way that Aaron plays and actually gets the ultimate down onto the Maokai, he's able to get the kill here as well in order to pick that one up. And then from there, it's just another hook coming out from Doxa to make sure that Manui goes down as well. Another kill, a shutdown going over to Aaron. A lot of the issues they were having in the bottom lane, not solved per se, but seriously mitigated.
He has an item completion over Manui now, which is just insane. as he gets the Yumu's Ghost Plate there. I'm sure Manui's sitting on a little bit of gold. I think we can check that here in a minute.
I have that.
I was going to say, I'm leading
Hold
you
on.
to it, Yoshi.
Hold on. Gotta find it again.
Okay. But anyways,
There it
It
is.
is hilarious to me that we've gotten to this disparity now in bottom lane, because Aaron, the Varus itself, actually pretty good in a Jhin. You have the utility to lock him down, but you also have that range damage to put it in. So I'm really, really interested to see how Aaron approaches his next fights. Meanwhile, DSG on the front foot used the Rift Herald bot side and will take their first dragon.
Lennon, I have bad news. It's not working. My button's
Not
don't
working.
click.
Okay.
Well, that's unlucky. Quacker teleporting out. Hey, Wildcard are now going towards the bottom half of the map to make sure that the split push is contested at least a little bit, but Cassante into LeBlanc is relatively tough to actually get anything done.
Wait, Manu?
Nui?
He has no mana. He has the rest of his team here, though, and Aaron now going to get hit by the Nature's Grasp. Oh, God. Things are going a little wild. Doxa gets a kill over on the side. Manui goes down to Young on a killing spree. Oh, no! Oh,
One more,
goodness. Well, Q3. Oh, not going to hit. Wildcard on a comeback with a vengeance here, but Young, Tenacity, and Perry, they're the ones you got to watch out for now, as he's going to pop that Ragnarok. It might just be so for Wildcard. They're going straight in on a Quacker, but they have so many dashes.
Ooh.
Nice little move, though. Ragnarok was still available, so Doxa mistiming that one a little bit. And they're looking for a back-end play on this one, and Manui just gets caught out yet again.
Yeah, I'm very tough position. Very similar, actually, to when Perry got caught out in the mid lane at a pretty similar timing to the first game. It feels as though Wildcard are just doing their plays again. Oh! I didn't press that button, by the way. Someone else did.
Let's go,
My button doesn't work.
production.
Let's go, production. Manui still the most gold in the game, but it doesn't matter if you have the most gold if you are also the one dying first in all of
Also a
these.
Jhin. Like, it's
You're
good,
also
but
Jhin.
as time goes on, it's not going to look that great. And I'm really interested. I mean, the rapid fire is complete, so you have a lot more range of engage now as well from the Jhin.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that, but we're starting to see why I literally pulled my statue down from the wall. And it's because Jhin, against this composition, as time goes on, you just don't get to play the game.
And this is part of why Disguise moving as a group, they will try and find Darkwings. Now they're looking for Doxa as well, but will not be able to lock them down at all. The gold lead has ultimately held steady at about just under 4,000 for the past several minutes, which is, again, Wildcard comfort zone. They're so good at bringing things back from the brink, from what looks like a doomed situation. But the one big hope that I really have for this game, we touched on it before, Young on this LeBlanc. He's really good at LeBlanc and Akali and Silas as the champions. I always think of this player as piloting, but he needs to have an opportunity to go for some of these split pushers and actually feel strong doing so. That was bold.
He's going to get engaged on immediately. But yeah, Young, a very interesting prospect for us, because this guy that we've had our eyes on for a long while, right? And he had the time on Golden Guardians going to LCS, and talking about that time, it was a little bit wild for him. He wasn't able to take full advantage of it, but learned a lot of the way that games are played and the way that structure is done in the LCS. I think it made him learn a lot. As maybe that learning going to need to come here. Doxa goes for the twofer, as now Poom is out of there. You do have the Deadly Flares coming in as well, the curtain call, and that shot's going to ring true. One more, and Dark Wings, he's not going to eat it. It's going to be Doxa that gets it.
There you go. But yet again, another proactive play, this time by Wildcard, turned on its head as they're the ones who are able to take down Winnie. He is not yet tanky, going for the, what's it called, Sundered Sky?
Sundered Sky.
Yeah, that's the one. Still learning all the names of the new items, but the one that gives you the extra damage does not necessarily make you that much tankier. Do cross the 20-minute mark here in just a second. Whoa. The one with hands! I always find this one.
I like it.
I always find this one a little bit uncomfortable because the hands are like in that uncanny valley for me.
I see.
Yeah.
They're really
Either way.
terrifying. When they scoop you in, it's terrifying.
Yeah, it is. Either way, though, Disguise, once again, they have been in control of this quadrant of the jungle for both of the games. As Winnie's going to come in and...
Oh, he just... Winnie!
Winnie.
He gets it! He got the blue buff, but he just gives his life for it. All right, well, the all-out comes through from Quacker. He's trying to get Perry, but Winnie, I don't know if that blue buff was worth it, as he does bite the dust.
That was very funny, not going to lie.
He saw it getting dazed. I'm going.
Oh, this is mine! Oh! Wait a second. And it's like, it makes me think of Potter Pupper Pals, actually. It's like, oh, I found the source of the ticking. It was a bomb. And you're like, oh no, this is not what I wanted.
Oh no.
But either way,
yeah, I don't. You know, sometimes it goes down that way, and you really want the blue buff for your team. It's the new bait. You know, that you give it to your whole team, so it makes it even that much more.
True. And yeah, only one person in Disguise actually got the blue buff.
Like a Baron
so
buff.
like, ultimately, way better coming across the side for Wildcard. Imagine how much better Darkwing's on the side lane will be when he has this blue buff now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Look at that. Yeah.
Copium.
I like that. Hopium, copium. We do have about 10 seconds for another dragon. Would be a sole point for Wildcard, but it seems like the positioning right now from DSG is just going to secure that one for themselves.
Yeah. They also have the opportunity to create a lot of traps between the Maokai and the Jhin. Very difficult for Wildcard to actually walk in. But hey, what is Wildcard special? It's sneaking Barons. They have the Varus, who's not as much because, you know, lethality, but they do have the Azir. It's actually something they can do relatively quickly. It's part of why Disguise pulled multiple members off the Dragon immediately to try and make sure that Wildcard does not pull the special. And uh-oh, Quacka.
Tenacity gets caught out doing the Dragon. Meanwhile, there was a play being folded out on top side of the map from Wildcard. Really just waiting in the bushes to get Doxa a hook onto somebody, but the Dragon does end up going over. Looks like a tier 2 will be traded here, though. Perry's on a deep flank, though. He does get spotted out.
Very deep flank. Tenacity does not have a teleport to join, whereas Quacker does. It would be a 3v4 or a 4v4 at best for Disguised. But, I mean, just look at this. Wildcard, they're the guys who call it the 3M. They're here to party.
They are indeed.
Oh,
they don't have
Young.
the Broloff, though. Young knows that there's some finickiness going on.
Oh, he W'd.
Everybody's missing. Uh-oh, this means the go button. Everybody, Young's like,
Get
I don't
him!
know what to do. Where do I go? And he goes down, shut down to Aaron, and that's actually huge.
That's so... I loved how Young was so focused on not getting hooked from that bush, and then he uses W. And it's like, okay, guys, like,
Guys.
you were so confident someone was in there, you're playing around it, and then Perry gets hooked.
Ooh, Perry, and he does not have the health bar to survive that. Nature's Grass goes backwards, and Darkwings picks up the kill. Easy does it. Manui and Poom, they are the saving grace right now. Tenacity is getting pulled from the mid lane. They have to get this poke down. They have to utilize this lead that they've gotten bot lane. But we've talked about the ticking time bomb that is this Wildcard comp, and it just seems like it's unsurmountable as they're going to get tossed in. 2,000 health on the Baron. It's going down. Winnie's going to grab that one, and now it's Manui as the moment to shine. Young is here trying to chase him down too. How many Baron buffs can they get out of this one? Oh, the hook on the Poom, and it shuts him down. Doxa has come up clutch post 15 minutes.
No way, he gets out too. Everybody's like, nah, we gotta go for the other side of the fight. They get out, they get a kill. Wildcard are in the lead.
Not like this. Not like this.
It's a Wildcard comfort zone, baby. You're not gonna take them down. You thought you had the lead. No, we are going to go for the Baron. We're gonna go hunt Young. We're gonna get everything we came for.
It's gone. It's literally 0. We are at a point-blank deficit between these two teams. There was almost a 5,000 gold lead. Sub 20 minutes for DSG. It hurts. It feels. It is still DSG looking for their first game win of the season. And that gold graph is one to say ouchies to.
This is... okay.
Another hook, another play. They actually find the good curtain call here. Dox is getting low. DSG, they're making a move. They get Tenacity, 1 kill. Now they're chasing down Aaron. Aaron's completely caught between a rock and a hard place. A double kill for Tenacity. Darkwings now is going to join him. That's a triple kill. Let's give him a quadra kill here as he does get it. And a quadra goes down the way of DSG.
What are they doing? What are they up to right now? They're not pushing as hard as they potentially could be. And Quacker, the only person still alive on the other side of the map. Oh, okay. This is one of the problems that we're seeing from Disguise. They could have gotten an inhibitor here, and they didn't. They're not taking as much as they're supposed to be taking when they're winning these fights. Yes, they have a gold lead again, but Wildcard should have their base open right now after this disaster of a fight. They try and take it when they still have a bunch of ultimates down. They don't have tools. You don't even have the subjugation coming out from Winnie. And so Aaron and Darkwings, they just get flashed on and they have nowhere left to go. They cannot create the space to make sure that Tenacity is not going to run rampant in this fight. And suddenly, as like Winnie finally throws down the ultimate at the very end, it's way too late from this position. They are absolutely routed, but they don't lose a whole lot. They were already playing with this gold deficit, and they were able to play it right on back. It's the structures that are still standing that showcases that.
Here it goes.
No.
DSG are in it. They are coming for it. Tenacity, Puff, Ragnarok. Tenacity is 5-0, and he is the monster in the night right now. He's trying to take down Winnie. One axe doesn't do it. Poom trying to take him out too. Young ends up getting the kill, and now Wildcard on the back foot. Deadly Flourish will not connect, but Manui is charging at him. Darkwing takes a shot to the back, and Poom gets them. And DSG are starting to avalanche this one forward.
Okay, curtain call comes through. It just needs like, probably 2 onto Quacker.
Oh.
Gets the 1, but not the second one. Disguised. No! We taking structures. What? They're routed. They need to get like the bot lane turret or something. This is a big part of why this guy. Okay, they can go play for the dragon.
They got the 2-2. No, wait.
They don't. Oh my gosh, this is huge. Even though Wildcard, they are back to a position where they have the same kind of gold deficit that they had before. There's not gold going over to DSG, and okay, well, they will get this turret, but there's no local gold. That's most of the benefit that you get for taking this turret is the 600 gold that you get for taking it locally. Wildcard now get another chance to come try and play for this dragon. They don't have their ultimates. That's going to be one of the big things here, is that Wildcard should give over this Cloud Dragon, but they were going to give it over the Cloud Dragon anyway.
Yeah, you do get that third soul point for DSG itself. They were positioning to try to catch somebody out who wanted to come this way. I think it was a good reserved call from Wildcard, realizing if we get a little bit more time, our composition gets even scarier. The problem I will say now, though, is if Tenacity pops Ragnarok and runs at Aaron, what do you do? Like, literally, he could just run through your entire team. The only thing that can truly stop him is the Trundle Pillar, because it literally is just a wall. But I don't know if that's going to be the difference maker if Tenacity comes knocking on the door.
There's also the wall from Darkwings, right? But you do have to be very careful. If you get the initial push will not push back the Olaf, but the actual wall will prevent him from running through. And so, we saw some things coming out from Disguise. They are moving towards the top side of the map, but moving into just like these lighting up and siege situations are absolutely favoring Wildcard in the long term. They will lose the structure for sure, but it's going to take them a while, and Manui off in the mid lane, yes, he will get this wave pushing, but suddenly it means that Wildcard will be getting the time to continue scaling. And so I'm really starting to worry for Disguise. They need to try and find a play relatively soon. They finally bring Manui, and this ultimate...
They got Manui up here. The Deadly Flare is going to connect there. Curtain call. They are all in onto Darkwings, and beautifully done. They pick him out.
Nice. That is huge. They take down the one person who can really deal with Nasty during a lot of this fighting, and also a lot of the wave clear coming through. But they lost a lot of their health bars to do that. And you're seeing the damage that Manui actually does to Quacker and Winnie from this position. And now we're going to have another couple of minutes. No, we're only going to have 30 seconds before this Baron starts. No, Winnie!
Oh, Winnie. Winnie just goes right in. We've seen him do it multiple times in this game alone, and he will just get taken out. Quacker, he's a little bit less likely to go down easy, but he does go down just as easy in the end as Tenacity goes godlike, 7-0-3 from a guy that we were asking to step up. We were asking, where is this Chad top laner? And he's doing it on Olaf against the one that does it on Olaf, a Quacker.
Yeah, and they're taking all the plays right out of the Wildcard book, waiting in bushes in crazy spots. Uh-oh, Young. Flashes.
Flash out of that piercing arrow. It does mean, though, DSG don't really have their buffer here, but Tenacity just says, let's run at him, guys. Deadly Flourish connects, and he's right onto Doxa. Easy pickup for Manui, as now it's Darkwings trying to get to the turret, but there is no saving grace any longer. Aaron, you gotta join your slew buddies down in the gray screen. As he's gone, DSG are turning right to the Baron.
And finally, this is really big. Those couple of picks. The first one to Darkwing, the second one onto Winnie, trading into this Baron suddenly means that DSG, they finally have a gold lead that I am comfortable saying, yes, they should win the game from this position. They're even trying to hunt Winnie, make sure he gets nowhere near the Baron. Can they even kill him?
Winnie does have a lot of sustain back at it if he can get some auto attacks off, and I think Poom and Young are realizing that now. They're going to try to back away. They don't want to lose.
Got him.
Okay. Young does a lot of damage with that Shadow Flame, as now we do see the Rally Cry Baron buff going over to DSG, a back coming out, a reset, and a signal of the end, I would say.
Potentially. 30 minutes into this game, finally getting close to the 10,000 gold lead mark that we tend to look at. It is a huge opportunity for DSG. Remember, they are 0-5 in terms of games. This one, they almost threw as well, and now they are standing tall, disguised, ready to go for one more play to actually try and end the game, and it's going to be so focused on how they can actually punch through this front line. Can they get to Darkwings? Can they get to Aaron? The people who can actually do some damage to the front line of DSG.
I think Naro's going to be taking a screenshot of that gold graph and showing it to his players.
It's like, guys.
Guys, this is a mountain and a half. But we do see actually a really good warding system placed up by DSG on the top side of the map. We do have Dragon in a minute, so some of that needs to transition down towards the bottom side so they can get the soul, or just try to go for some permanent pushing power in the end hit.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they are creating pressure, Wildcard is not the kind of team who is going to send one person to actually try and deal with the Dragon. They are going to try and fight the 5v4. So DSG should feel rather comfortable if they really want to send somebody to go do the Dragon, while the rest of them are actually creating pressure on this side of the map. They can also just line up. The one thing they need to be careful of, Doxa. He's been hooking out some of the more tanky members, which has been hurting them. They've gone for parry into Nasty a couple of times. If he's able to land something onto Manui, it is going to be game-changing. Here comes
Nature's Grass coming across, going to force everybody off the turret. Manui's doing some work to that turret too. Deadly Flourish doesn't connect, but this is signals DSG moving forward now. As a look at Tenacity, my God! Does take about half his health off though. Manui shooting at least the max damage. Deadly Flourish not. Oh, it was so close. The shooting from Mr. Manui just a little bit wide there. Does have to end up flashing in the end because of the rocket crab that was coming out, and that's the bane of the existence for the Jhin. But it feels like DSG now playing a little bit with their food. Need to reposition down here because Wildcard overextended themselves, and now they just get completely caught. The Chains of Corruption actually comes through. The TP now on the back from Quacker. He's just getting melted by Tenacity, though. And he's tapped up Poom with the back shot. And now actually going forward is the rest of DSG. And that should be the Twitch chatters doing the most of it here. And taking down an in-hit turret as Tenacity again got the ultimate backup and was just running at people as he's done all game long.
And they finally, hey, Manui did the damage to Winnie! They did it! That was a perfect example of how you can punish some of these wildcard plays. You know they're going to be committing very hard, but they're going to be cutting a lot of corners on their way. They punish the members of wildcard as they go out. Not going to be pulling parry on the fountain in disguise. They're going to be getting their first win of the spring split here in 2024. They take down wildcard after a nail-biter of a game.
They got their first dub! Let's go!
They did it!
Woo! Disguised Toast can be happy. Oh my goodness. It was a roundabout way to get there. There was a moment that we thought maybe things were turning back around. But it was Disguised who hammered it home in a very triumphant fashion. And they bring us to a 1-1 scoreline of the best of three. Now let's see if they can bring it back with a little mini reverse sweep. We'll be right back after a short little break.
They said it couldn't be done. They said the world would never accept a cookie this long. Or a churro, and probably not a pretzel either. They also said, under no circumstances should those really long and delicious treats be wildly affordable. To which we said, but we already made them. And they are. Introducing the incredible new foot-long sidekicks. Get one at Subway today.
Welcome to the 2024 Spring Split of the LCS Challengers League. This spring will feature 10 teams competing in a single round-robin best-of-3 format, and for the first time ever, we'll be implementing Fearless Drafts. If you're not familiar, Fearless Draft adds a new twist to pick and ban. Once a champion is picked by a team in the series, it cannot be picked by them again. So if Team A drafts Teemo in Game 1, they cannot play Teemo for the rest of the series. Team B could pick Teemo in Game 2, but then wouldn't be able to play him in Game 3. And like LCS, all games will be played on the live patch, so you can take what you see from the games and try them out on your own. The top 8 teams from our regular season advance to the NACL playoffs, which will feature a double elimination bracket with a mix of best of 3 and best of 5 matches. Alongside the NACL are 2 qualifier tournaments, which will also feature Fearless Drafts on the live patch. The bottom 2 teams from the NACL regular season will compete against the top 4 teams from the qualifiers in a promotion tournament, battling in a double elimination bracket to qualify into the NACL in summer 2024. All LCS Challengers League games and coverage will be available on twitch.tv/LCS_challengers, with matches starting right after the LCS. And as a reminder, with team revenue shares, every sub in Twitch Prime directly supports the teams and players. Another split of Challengers League begins right now, and we can't wait to see you there.